It's 2024, and I'm playing Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, specifically Re-Reckoning, as this is the remaster of the game, which will be relevant later on. I start up a new game, and bad news everyone, we're already dead. But don't fear, this is the character creator. The game literally starts with you dead, so I guess it can only get better from here. I want to play as a finesse-based character, so I picked Dokufar as my race for an early boost to stealth, and choose Belen, the god of death, as my patron, as it grants me a hefty boost to crits. Then it's just a case of making and naming my pretty boy, and it's off to the corpse pit I go. Coming back from the dead has already got to be quite the experience for the mind to deal with, and I don't think the trauma of waking up in a pile of dead bodies really helps that. It seems my character knows how to suppress their trauma pretty well though, as they're on their feet right away, picking up a sword and getting ready for combat. And it's clear we're needed, judging by how poorly the gnomes are doing at actually fighting back the evil Tuatha. I watched this gnome for ages, hoping he could get revenge, but he ends up dying while I fight some rats. Seems I'm the only person who can actually save the day, so I advance through the dungeon and have my first fight against the Tuatha themselves. These are the main enemies of the game, but they still get beat down by some dude in rags wielding a rusty sword. Turns out the person I've saved is an incel. But I chose to play as a male character, so he's happy that I saved him, rather than angry that I didn't sleep with him. Incel then gives a bit of a lore dump, letting me know that we are at the Well of Souls, a project that a scientist named Hughes has been working on, with the goal of restoring life to the dead. There's the option to ask more about the project, but I really don't want to know why an incel chose to spend all their time alone around dead bodies. Instead, I loot some light armour and push through to the next room. Here we get to witness what the Tuatha are up to. Well, looks like I'm only going to get resurrected once. The Tuatha seem to have shown up here to destroy the project and everyone involved with it. My only way out of this place is to fight, so I pick up what weapons I find. I end up with a bow,
Let's shoot them before they see us.
And eventually find a pair of daggers. And this right here is the whole reason I'm playing as a finesse character. The stealth kills in this game are so damn cool. Always just really fun animations and a crazy amount of damage. But that's not the only cool combat thing this game does well. We also get magic, and the default spell is a lightning bolt, which does a ton of damage. One area where this game excels is in combat variety. There's a bunch of different weapon types, spells, and movesets, meaning that fights don't need to just be a case of spamming the attack button. Not that that can't be effective, but you have the option to switch things up a bit. I escort Incel back to safety, and I suspect it's not the first time he's used an escort service. Paying for the escort certainly doesn't seem to take much persuading. I then head into the main laboratory and get to meet Fomerus Hughes, the man who resurrected me. Turns out he doesn't actually know much about me, and I get the sense that he might not exactly know what he's doing.
I wish I could tell you more, but your death is a mystery to me as well.
What he lacks in knowledge, he seems to make up for in aggressiveness, as we come under attack, with archers killing Incel and the scientists slashing ankles to cover my escape. Left on my own, I sneak through the upper levels, using stealth to kill the enemy soldiers with deadly efficiency. Unfortunately, stealth is not an option for the final room, so it's time for my first boss fight, against a deadly rock troll. Before taking it on, I want to even out the numbers, so I focus on the enemy soldiers. With them out of the way, I'm able to keep my distance from the beast, using my bow and my magic to deal damage from a distance while dodging the troll's attacks. To finish the monster off, I head in close with the daggers, and then dish out the finishing blow. I loot my reward from the troll, and you see this, Bethesda? It's a game where a character can wear more than one ring at a time. Sure, there's only 2 slots for magic rings, but at least that's 1 per hand. I head out of the darkness and into the light of a level up. I already have some ranks in stealth, and while all these choices are tempting, Detect Hidden is easily the best to go for, as it will increase the amount of gold I find, and show enemies on my minimap. With each level up, you also get a trio of points to spend in your skill trees. Characters in Kingdoms of Amalur have 3 different skill trees they can invest in. Might is for those who just go for the let's just hit stuff playstyle. Bonus damage with swords and warhammers, and a big boost to health. Sorcery gives you a host of powerful magic spells to upgrade, as well as increasing base mana. But Finesse is where I want to focus my character, unlocking a new type of attack with my daggers, and a move where I basically just throw some dust at enemies, and can follow up with throwing knives while they're momentarily blinded. With my character leveled up, I head on out and it doesn't take me long to find another gnome who needs my help. This one is being attacked by a bear, and once I defeat it, I seemingly decide I need to interrogate this person?
No, I had no idea anything like that would happen. The Well of Souls is bigger than one gnome's pet project. My employer pays for information about its progress. I just send the reports to make some money on the side. I never wanted anyone to get hurt.
Turns out profitable though, so I guess the socially aggressive element of my character is a helpful one. I continue exploring, looking for more people I can save and then extort, but instead find a cave filled with giant rats. After fighting trolls and bears, these enemies prove no challenge at all, and I'm able to loot the cave, picking locks and dispelling wards in order to open the chests inside. I do such a good job dispelling the wards, but this chest gives me my first bit of gold tier equipment. Gold tier gear gives you an extra bonus the more pieces of a set you have equipped. Sadly, I don't have enough points in finesse to actually use this piece, but I'll happily save it for later. Enough exploring, time to head back to the story. I've been told to reach the nearby village, but on my way I'm stopped by a fate weaver called Agarth. The whole world of Amalur is one where everything that will happen is already written in the grand tapestry of fate. Fate weavers are those who can read the threads of fate and learn what will happen in the future. They're not able to do anything to change the future though, which kind of sucks, but does explain why Agarth is an alcoholic. If I knew there was no such thing as free will, I'd probably spend most of my time drunk too. Watching me fight turns out to be more effective than any AA course though, as finishing off enemies in Reckoning mode causes this outburst.
What are you? The threads of fate. I've seen them before, but I've never seen anyone manipulate them like that. You just changed how the world was supposed to work. How did you do that?
Turns out I'm the Fateless One, an individual who can choose their own destiny. Somewhat literally in this case, as it's not only a plot element but a gameplay element too, as there are destinies you unlock as you level up. I pick Rogue as I want to play a stealth build, and that's the only finesse option available right now. Agarth heads off, planning to meet me later, but I decide it's time to actually head to the village of Gorhart. Seems there's a bit of a commotion taking place as I arrive.
It appears she was attacked with some manner of short blade, likely a dagger, although there's no way I can be sure.
It would appear the mortal villagers aren't too keen on the immortal Fae. Or perhaps they just wanted to test out how this version of immortality works. Turns out, doesn't make you stab-proof. Herc the Honest enlists my help at learning how to heal the victim by visiting a nearby Fae. The reason I call Herc the Honest is this.
I would do it, but I am a coward. That's the truth.
Feels like a weird thing to tell a complete stranger, but hey, it's good to be able to admit it, I suppose. I may not be a coward, but I'm also not stupid, so before I head out on this quest, I head to the special loot chest in the village. Playing the remastered version means you get access to a bunch of overpowered early game items. These purple and gold pieces of gear won't scale well to the late game, but in the early game it will put you on easy mode. I equip the Imminent Armour set, as well as the Omniblade daggers and the Hunter bow. With all this OP gear, I can safely sell off the rest of what I own. I head to the alchemist store to ditch my old gear, but before I do, she decides to terrify me.
Do you feel nauseous? Itchy? Have you noticed any blood leaking from your eye sockets? I've been noticing the symptoms everywhere.
Sounds like a bit too much for me to deal with right now though, so I just get on with my business and head on out. Reaching the Fae doesn't prove too tricky. There's a few wolves and boggarts in the forest, but they go down fast to my deadly weapons. Before I speak to the Fae, I do get distracted by this. I genuinely have no idea what this is. I've played through this game a fair few times in the past and have never noticed it before. Is it an Easter egg? Some hidden side quest? It doesn't tell a joke, so what is going on? After that mild mindfuck, I let the Fae know about the crime, but turns out she already knew about it.
Yes, I witnessed this crime, although I did not recognize the one who perpetrated it. It is often difficult to distinguish one mortal from another.
Seems she's too much of a racist to be able to tell villagers apart, so we don't know who the culprit is. But she does bestow us the amazing advice that we'll need a strong healing potion in order to heal the wounded Fae. Honestly, could have figured that out myself. Looks like I'm heading back to the alchemist, and there's only so many times I can ignore someone before giving in. Turns out she's lost a formula for some kind of very dangerous potion, and her apprentice is missing too. My job is to head out and find them both, but first things first, I need to find that healing potion. I'm sure I could just buy one, but I'm playing a sneaky character, so stealing it is the way for me to go. I hand the potion over to Herc the Honest, but he's worried that this whole incident could start a race war, so I'm off on diplomat duty. It's a long walk through the forest to reach the Fae at the House of Ballads, but my fire daggers easily cut through the woodland creatures. I speak to Galen, the Fae at the entrance, and decide to uphold the virtues of Herc the Honest and tell them what really happened.
Attacked, you say? Your kind is too timid to even speak to us, and now you're trying to kill us. I do not understand it. However, your honesty is appreciated. Tell the people of Gorhart that they have nothing to fear from us. We mean them no ill will, as long as they leave the forest undisturbed as they found it.
Yeah. Leave the forest undisturbed. Well, looks like I fucked it. Doesn't matter though, as I did what I was told to do and head back to receive my reward.
Gorhart will be a new community, a place of compassion, and it's thanks to you. Please, take my sword and buckler. They will serve you well, as they have served me.
Given that I have legendary gear, Herc's basic stuff is no use to me, but at least I did a goodish deed. It's now time to help the alchemist, so I track down her apprentice, but it's bad news when I arrive.
Nanny always was a fool. So immersed in her work that she failed to see the deception before her very eyes. The Red Legion has her formula, because I gave it to them. At this very moment, they are moving crates of it eastward towards the city of Rathir, where they will fetch a high price. Poor Nanny. So trusting, so pathetic. Of course she can never learn of my ruse, can she?
Turns out Carth is one of those twats who tries to get rich off the back of the pandemic. This being a video game rather than real life, I at least can kill him for being such a dumbass. It's then my job to destroy all the crates with a formula, and it's a pretty easy job at first. The Red Legion are no challenge to pick apart, and I eventually end up in their main camp. I get a group of them to bunch up with their leader so that I can use Reckoning mode to deal a devastating finisher. Apparently I've only smashed 8 out of the 10 crates, but the alchemist doesn't seem to care, and I'm choosing to ignore the consequences of this mistake. With that turned in, another goodish deed has been done. And that was Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning. This really is a great game, and I'd highly recommend picking it up if you're looking for a fantasy RPG to play. It originally came out around the same time as Skyrim, which led to it being somewhat overlooked, but it's aged incredibly well, so I highly recommend checking it out. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe for more like this. I do apologise that this video is a little late out, and if I sound weird, I managed to start off the year by getting the flu, so I'm just coughing and wheezing all the time. Regardless, as always, thanks for watching. Sarge out.